Yes, hi, and good afternoon. I'm Martin Sines, your host with Note Investing Made Easier. Thank you for joining us with, we have a very special guest, a very special edition, and it's going to be a pretty neat time that we're going to have together. So thanks for tuning in. Before we get started, I'm going to make a few announcements. We have the Node Expo occurring next week in Dallas, Texas, and you can sign up. There's a link there for early bird pricing. You can sign up at on the events page. Also, too, we have a workshop coming up in Washington D.C. on November 30th and December 1st. And I hope you can join us for that. So today we have, very special guest, Mr. Dave Hauser. Hi, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Martin.
And what we're going to do here is we are going to talk to Dave here because Dave has, has taken formal education, getting set up in the note space. He has, he has gone down that track. He has immersed himself into social media. He's, working on building a brand for himself. And so just kind of seeing you out there, Dave, I thought it would be really fascinating to bring you on the program and just kind of see how everything's going. So how is everything going?
I was really honored that you asked me the other day at first. Things are really going well now. Closed my first deal. Bought 3 notes, all of them in Florida, from Michael Solis, and just closed on that. Should have the papers at my house when I get home today. And so we'll get these files out. It took a long time to figure things out and what I wanted to do. But instead of jumping in like a lot of people have been telling me to do, this time I took a lot of time, a lot of effort, and really started building relationships with people before I bought anything, just like I would for my coaching career. That's what I've done for 20 years. And just decided to go down that path instead of jumping head first in like I normally would with other investments that I've done, because it's totally different than anything I do now.
And then so in terms of the relationships you've built, like how have you found people to connect with in the note space?
Well, after taking your class, I had reached out to a couple of people and just was asking them questions. They were gracious enough to give me their time with phone calls or emails. And then so Bill McCaffrey's been a big influence for me. And I just seemed to I hit it off with Bill really, really quickly. And he's been there to answer any questions that I have, no matter how stupid it may sound to me. The guy is just a wealth of information, and I would do anything in the world if I could to help him. And then after I took your class, took Cassie Jeff's training, which was really eye-opening to me because I walked into the class and everybody knew everybody. I was the one person that Cassie didn't know, and nobody else knew who I was. And it was really nerve-wracking because I can be kind of shy at first. I'm an introvert, a really hard introvert. So sitting back and listening to everybody talk about things really was overwhelming at first. But then Cassie Cassie does a great job of teaching. And then all of a sudden all this information just started clicking in my head. And I realized I was really in the right spot. And I knew after taking your class that this is what I wanted to do, because it goes along with some of the other things I have going on with my life. as far as being the bank or the potential
let's
bank or things like that?
let's kind of touch on that. So, you hear a lot of, you hear the line out there that's put out there, surround yourself by great people, and
Right.
then you'll get to where you need to go. I
Right.
think there's something to be said, especially if you're an introvert, that you need to surround yourself with people that are for you, that
Right.
want
Right.
you to win. So, oftentimes when you go and set up a CRM system and you start trying to figure out who you're going to plug into to say, hey, look, these are critical people I really need to have relationships with. I think almost more importantly, initially, is to just place some thought into, hey, who are the people that are on my side? Who are the
Right.
people that, want to see me win at this? Because those people, they may not be the most sophisticated people in the note space or real estate space or what have you, but they very well could be people that are going to be there for you from a support standpoint, from a caring standpoint, and I think that's
Right.
real critical. And I think you have found those people.
Right. So I'm not out to make 100 different friends or contacts. I really just want to have less than seven people that can really have an impact on whatever I'm doing, and those 7 people that I can return that favor to in some way. I don't know what that may be, but I would do anything for any of them, including you. Because after I
Thank
left
you.
your class, it was just you laid out in your class, this is what you need to do. You need to get out there, make sure you're getting your name out there, but talk to people and talk to a lot of different people and explore different options in the field. Because note investing, there are so many things you can do in this. It's not just seconds,
Mm-hmm.
even though that's the route that I've settled into. But there's so many other things you can do with it. And the fact that you're out there helping people, you want to look for people that are out there helping other people. So just to get better at that. And that's what I look for, and that's what I've done. And I'm lucky enough to have found those people.
Yeah, and I think Dan Satowski is another person that you've connected with.
Yep.
Who
Yep. So I had lunch with Dan and Don at the DME, and really gave me, and I love honesty. Not a lot of people aren't going to be as honest as he is with me. They just don't, for whatever reason. And I really appreciate that, because there's no way I'm going to personally get better at anything unless people are telling me, hey man, you got to get your head on straight, or get your head out of your ass, and you got to do this. You got to be focused on this or this and this. Not because I have a tendency to get scatterbrained, and I go all over the place. Like, here's the next thing I'm going to do. And Dan helped me just settle down and calm down. I had some other things going on in my life that I let affect me. And it was just like, I'm done with that. Now I'm focused. I know exactly what I'm doing. I left DME, and I bought my first 3 notes.
Great. Congratulations on that, Dave. That's awesome.
Thanks. I appreciate that. So, and that's like the next learning curve, because now it's learning how the whole processing goes, working with servicers. Now I'm responsible for getting these things down to the different counties, getting them signed by the people, and just putting everything in place. Now, this is something that is very out of my comfort zone, because I've never done anything like this before. And I have other investments, but I've never had to do any of this stuff.
Yeah, and it's so critically important that you take those necessary steps of reviewing collateral file. I know Tony Sotile is on here, and he's an attorney out in Ohio, and he does 8 other states, and I mean, he'll review collateral file for you. It was something, very affordable fee, with the expectation, he would get the file for foreclosure. And that's pretty significant to have that kind of, backing. So,
right.
one thing that I think that I think you want to evolve your team right now at this point. You have people that you know are in your corner. You mentioned Bill McCafferty. You mentioned Dan. You mentioned these people that, you know, really want to see you succeed. You know you need to calm down because you're all over the place. And so, you know, this is where I think you should be centering your whole attention around your CRM system, and maybe even categorizing like having a peer bucket where the people that want to see you succeed are in that bucket, and then having, you know, Michael Solis and these other institutional sellers in another bucket, so that you keep your ear to the ground for any opportunities that come up. But then you also need your partner supports like Tony Sotile, who, you know, who can go and vet this collateral file and make sure you're buying well before you buy it.
Right, right. So that's just everything that going up until buying it, I didn't know what to expect. Now I know what to expect for the next time as we start searching for another group of notes. It's like, okay, now to be prepared, and having gone through it once, and now I know what to expect next time, and now I know how to be better prepared instead of just scrambling at the last second to get things set up. So it's a big learning curve.
And you remember when we did the workshop, we put together a personal timeline for yourself. I think it was a 12-month projection, if I remember correctly.
Right.
I'm pretty sure, you know, I remember, you know, you're like most people. You have, you know, only so much capital, but however, you have, you know, you have a passion to see this, you know, succeed for yourself. You're a smart guy. And so, you know, from the point of you working out these 3 notes, and you might pick up a few other notes, at some point you have to have, your model has to account for scalability, right?
Right.
To go and make this into a living for yourself. And so what thoughts do you have for yourself in that regard?
Well, for the next year or 24 months, we're just going to work. I want to be on the lending side of things, and having people borrow money from me. That's really my model anyway, with other things that I have going on.
Okay.
As far as like my whole life insurance and stuff.
I see.
The banking, being in a bank is the end game ultimately, and the banks are going to, and the note business is going to be for income, basically for my wife and I.
But immediate cash flow is to sustain your business is going to come from insurance and you know, outside forces, if you will.
And some, I have some other side things that I do, trying to generate daily, weekly cash flow, and everything all at once is just kind of finally flowing together. So there's a system developing as I narrow down basically what I want to do from day to day.
Yeah. So the same thing, you know, on the same token of, you don't want any person to be the center of your world. Like, in other words, like a mentor or anything like that. You don't want yourself to be the center of your business either. So you want to just make sure you have some thought of how, you know, how to pull Dave out, you know, because you're putting so much on yourself. Michelle App says, now the real learning happens after you bought those notes, Dave. So she's giving you a shout out.
No question. It's a lot of fun though. Just looking through the collateral files before the deal was closed, I was overwhelmed with how much information was in some of these things. And it took me a while just to make sure everything was there that was supposed to be there. And then took 1 or 2 days for me to just being away from the business and taking time for myself to reach and exercise and take better care of myself and things like that. And then now we're back into it. So it's just this constant cycle of you're on, you're off, you're on, you're off. but you got to make sure you're still taking care of yourself.
Now, did you re-review, understood, did you re-review the material for the workout portion, from the workshop we did, in that, you're setting the goals in mind based on a given exit strategy you feel is achievable with those notes. You're setting up the project timeline given, with the lead time being the foreclosure timeline for that particular state. And along with your cash on cash, projection with everything. Have you kind of set that project management system up for yourself?
Well, 30 days out. That's all I have set up right now.
Okay.
Just because I didn't know what to expect. So now we have the files and we get them recorded, and now we'll develop a plan of, trying to connect with the people, and then we'll make 2 attempts of that, and before we push it to the attorney.
What states are they in?
All in Florida.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
my favorite state.
Yeah.
That's great.
It was funny though. It was really funny though, because as this deal was going down, that hurricane was coming through. So luckily nothing was damaged.
Yeah. But then if there was equity back in the notes, you could be looking at insurance payout too.
Right.
So other things happen. So are you using Sean Mills in Florida for legal?
I haven't reached out to him yet, but that's who I'm going to call.
Okay. Perfect. Sure. Yeah. He's I've used him dozens of times.
Yeah.
So
especially I had a few minutes to talk to him at DME, so he won't remember me per se, but he'll remember me giving him crap about the Gators game being turned on.
Well, and then Alex Morstad, he's a Gators guy
right.
too.
Yeah. They were together. They were together, and I was giving him a hard time about it.
Yeah, they were doing shots. I don't think Alex and Sean were feeling well the next day. But anyway, so okay, great. So what good fortune you have having your first 3 notes be in the same state?
Yeah, that was the plan. I wasn't expecting to go for 3, because I was also looking at notes in New York.
Mm-hmm.
That were affordable for me, and they were in the Bronx, so the opportunity to make a bigger payday in the end was there, but I just chose Florida because I knew an attorney there already.
Yeah.
And the opportunity to get 3 instead of 1 or 2, I just was like, 3's better than 2.
So
numbers wise.
So, and I know we touched on buying a few notes, learning, the honing in on the due diligence process. So you know what you buy before you buy, and then doing the workout piece, which is what you're starting to do as you're waiting on the collateral files coming in. So where do you go from here? Are you going to, because I know when you took the workshop, your focus was on raising capital and kind of going into it that way and generating deal flow and kind of carving a niche out for yourself. Has that changed for yourself?
It has changed because I want to do everything self-funded for at least the next buy. And I'm not ready to use anybody else's money. And if I'm going to use somebody else's money, I'm going to use money that I have in an insurance account. And that way, that's the ultimate other people's money. So I'll just use the money I have stashed away. But I decided I was really pushing, trying to get other people to invest. And then I was like, you know what? This is stupid. This is stupid because I don't have the process down and realize that self-funding and risking my own money is the smarter way to do it. And if I decide that this is beyond my means, then I'd have to find a business partner, an analytical partner for money wise. And that may be an option down the road, but it's not at this point.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it dead on. That's so the way to go. Self-fund first, and then learn the ropes and prove yourself, and the money will come to you. Fred Moskowitz, he has money. He may be able to give you his money to play with. He says, Dave, throwing a barbell around will go a long way to help you get your head cleared and keep you in the
You
right.
know that. You know that. Today's the punching bag day, though, Fred.
Yeah, so great. And then Dwayne says that's his plan too. Hey, Dwayne, how are you doing, sir? Um, and so,
So
yeah,
at one point you posted on your web on the Facebook page, what are your goals for this year? And mine was 10 and raise $250,000. And that really hasn't changed. The $250,000 has changed,
yeah,
but the ten notes are the note. That's like the magic number. There is no reason for it. It's just arbitrary as it could be. But the 10 notes of my own money, that's where I'll start feeling more comfortable, because I believe that'll give me enough to be knowledgeable
yeah.
and a little bit more proficient with the process. And again, start figuring out what I'm not good at, and
Well,
find a strategic partner.
yeah, no, so Dave, you're saying all the right things. So, the the real critical step is to do the SWOT analysis. What is Dave good at? What are your strengths, and then what are your weaknesses? And whereas most people think in terms of, they don't think in terms of what are their strengths and weaknesses. They think in terms of, let me go and figure out what I'm doing and then go raise capital. That's kind of the
Right.
traditional model. And so I think a more sustainable model is say, hey, look, what are my weaknesses? And let me go find a partner. They may not have any more money than I have. Who cares?
Right.
You
Right.
know, but let's go at this together and see what we can carve, whether we kind of carve things out on the front end where we're generating deal flow, and we're vetting that deal flow and packaging it for a sell-off, as an advisor, if you will.
Right.
Nobody uses the broker word because there's licensing involved. But yeah, as an advisor, as a consultant, or is it, hone your skills on the back end and do asset management? So, a lot of those don't require, are not heavy capital intensive, but I like the idea you're starting out with buying some notes and getting your feet wet. So Rudy
Right.
Willis, he says, I'm doing something similar, using my IRA to JV with more experienced people, then use my own, then one others. Yes. Hey, Rudy, I think I mentioned this to you last time. Bobby has dragging me back out to the Bay Area and in December. So I'll be out there, and I have an extremely strong partner that I'm going there with in the space. You know him very well, and we're going to be making an announcement very soon. So really looking forward to speaking to Bobby's group. So Dave, in terms of just kind of putting together daily rituals for yourself, do you have those in place? Things that you need to do on a daily level, on a daily basis, to ensure you're meeting your goals in the note space?
Yes. The first is I read a lot. I read a lot of, and a wide variety of topics, not just investing. I read a lot of leadership books. Right now, I'm currently reading the Odyssey. Um, I'm fascinated with Greek Stoicism and that whole thought process behind it. So that I spend a lot of my reading time looking at that. Exercise is a huge part of what I do. I believe in physical training and straining your body a little bit, for sure. And farming is the other aspect of. I'm out every day. I own my wife and I have a small farm, and that's a huge part of what I do. And I kind of tie in everything I do into farming.
So what are the parallels between farming and note investing?
So when you're farming, you have to clear out areas, clutter, or however you want to. You do the same thing in investing, right? You clear out the clutter in your mind, and you start developing a plan, and then you plant seeds. You don't just plant a few seeds. You have to plant a lot of seeds. The volume is where you're going to win in planting vegetables.
Let me stop you. How are you planting seeds now in the note space?
These more or less is just myself. I'm planting seeds in my head. I have goals that I have up on a wall at home.
Well, let me stop you for a sec. So what I'm going to is, you're doing a lot more videos now. You're opening up more on social media. You are making some connections with institutional sellers. So that's kind of what I'm driving at. Those are the seeds that are gonna pay dividends over the long haul.
Okay. Yep. So, but in that you have to water. You have to put cover crops to protect them. And then you have to weed. You have to weed out things that are going to be invasive to your plants and strangle them. It's the same thing you have to do with anything else in your life. You have to weed out the negativity. You have to weed out the negative people. You have to take care of all that stuff and then just keep nurturing it and building upon it. And every year you're building stronger soil, more balanced soil. And the same thing here, it's just like exercise too. And Fred would agree. You have to be progressive in everything you do, and you have to overload in everything you do. Once you get to a certain point, you need to stimulate it. You need to grow, and it's constant. But farming really, it's a simple way to look at things, because you have to cultivate, and that's what you're doing with the note business. You're cultivating a plan, and you keep nurturing that plan, and that plan is going to change over a couple of years, and you just keep developing a better plan, a better and bigger plan.
So what? It's safe to say you're like introvert gone crazy, right? So you're coming out of your shell. You're making videos now. I assume that's I don't know, counterintuitive, or it's not within your nature to be putting yourself out there that way.
I call it the awakening, because for the last 3 years, basically, I've been on this journey, and I didn't know where I was going to end up. But I started doubting everything. You're told your whole life, you need to be doing this, you need to get a great job, you need to have this amount of money in your bank account, you need to be eating this type of food, blah, 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 blah. And I just figured that that's just all bullshit. That people are trying to sell you a plan that works for them, but they don't know me personally. They don't know what's going on in your life, Martin.
Yeah.
It's not really relevant what other people want to do. It's what's important is what you want to do, and to make the most out of your time, not to work 50 weeks out of the year to ask to take a vacation. That's just ludicrous to me. And it took me a while to figure it out. Growing up as a teenager, I was a very rebellious kid. I never wanted to listen to anybody. And then once you get out of college, you fall into that trap of you go to work, spend 60 hours, 70 hours a week at work, come home, repeat over and over and over again. And
let me circle you back in, Dave. Let me circle you back in here. So you picked up 3 notes. You're starting the workout process once you get the collateral file. Don't wait for setting up the project management systems. Remember the borrower relations management database. You want to be inputting all that information, because time's ticking, right? You don't want to start that process once you have the collateral file. But anyway, on another note, you're starting to do daily rituals where you're gaining exposure. You're branding yourself by doing some videos. Where do you take that specifically? Like, what's the end game for that you see with doing increased branding? Why are you even thinking to do increased branding? It's probably a bigger question. I'm talking the videos and putting yourself.
Yeah. It all started with like we talked about before the video started, it's just something totally out of my character. And I never talk about investing. I never talk about anything else going on in my life out with people I work with every day, or even like family members. I don't talk about stuff like that because everybody looks at me like I'm nuts, just nuts. And everybody tells you can't do something or you shouldn't be doing something. And it was just like I had a George Costanza moment where I was like, no, you just do everything opposite of what you usually would do. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make this video. So in the next video, start doing it live, because now we're working on speaking skills, and presentation skills. And I have a webinar. I have a group here in Connecticut that instead of having a monthly meetup at a bar or restaurant or something like that, I was like, who's up for a webinar? So we'll expand it into a webinar because it's just a lot easier to do it that way.
So the one thing I'm going to tell you is you have to be tracking your results. So
right.
It's not a business if you're not tracking results. So what I mean by that is that if you're doing a video and you're connecting with people and people are placing comments, then you may find those people are connecting well with you. So maybe they go into your CRM system and then you punch them up offline and you guys just kind of see where it goes. You
right.
never know. They might have deal flow. They might have capital. You just never know where the conversation will lead. So because if you don't capture that information, then you're just going to go from video to video, and then you're going to wake up, a year later feeling, great that you're doing all this video, but I'm talking the fruits of the labor. The fruits of the labor is what
right.
I want to talk to. So farming, right, is planting the seeds, and then what happens as a result of the planting? I don't know anything about farming.
Well, your plants grow or your animals grow. I also have 30 chickens and goats. So I really have a small farm. I have three dogs as well. We don't have kids, so my free time is spent with these animals. But so you plant something into the ground, it's growing. You're pruning it. You're cultivating it, and at the end of the season, it's producing something that you can now take into your body, and you're nourishing yourself. So the earth is giving back to you. I know that sounds all hippie stuff, but
no, not at all.
To know where my eggs are coming from, to know where our peppers or our eggplants or anything else, where that's coming from, that's really important to me. And we reach out to our local farmers too, and we buy everything local from a CSA, the community based agriculture, and we buy their beef and all our meat and stuff from them, and it's giving back to my community as well.
And that's also, I remember that's part of what your mission is and why you want to do note investing is you want to help rebuild communities.
That's exactly right. Had a bad experience with a bank, and they drag things out, and they don't tell you all the information until you're out there about to sign it on the dotted line, and they're not as honest as they portray themselves to be, and that really pisses me off.
Because they're the 900-pound gorilla. I mean, how could you go toe to toe with them?
Right, and the power is in the people, and the more power that we can take back away from the banks, the better off we'll be as a local community and as a nation. Absolutely.
And as profitable as it is when hedge funds and banks flip paper on upstream, there's nothing as profitable as getting your hands on and doing the workouts and bringing resolution to that note. That's the most profitable.
And how many times, Martin, have you heard over your career in notes that, hey, you're able to help, so-and-so was able to help out this family get back on their feet by working with them? Banks don't give a crap about you, but you as an individual can help out those people and make a real difference in somebody's life. And Who wouldn't want to be a part of that?
Yeah. I've gotten Christmas cards and,
Yeah,
like
that's
text
awesome.
messages.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you have a relationship with the bar when you call them and they pick up their phone and you guys just have a really good conversation.
Right.
How's it going? How's work? After they've been modded and everything else, or if they're paying a week late, you can call them and you're just having a good heart-to-heart discussion. That's when you know that you've really made an impact on their lives.
Right. That's our goal.
So going back to time management, if you have 100 or probably, I don't know, 80 hours of working time in your week, and let's say that you're going to evolve your note business and it's going to take 30 hours out of the 80, what is it that Dave's going to cut out? What is Dave going to cut back on to allow for that necessary time to develop his note business?
My current day job. And I say that laughingly, but that is it. That is ultimately what the deal is. And I want my time back. I want to be able to do whatever I want, and whenever I want, wherever I want, and however I want. And I'm being 100% sincere when I say that. I'm not just blowing smoke up somebody's behind. I'll put in as much time as I need. 30 hours a week. I get up at 3:45 every day, and I get up on the weekends. I'm up at before 6. So it's like I have all this time in the world in the morning that's my time, and I have nope. And I'm a morning person. From 4 to 10, those are my top hours. So I crush out a lot of work from that just that time point. And especially if there's nobody around, I can be a machine.
Yeah, and we even talked about the fact that you have your personality. I mean, you're very diligent, you're very hardworking. So you have the work ethic to make it work. You have the intelligence to make it work. You've already taken action by buying 3 notes. You're looking to do a second purchase now. And so I think that you're making the first moves. You're making good first moves. Would you agree? I mean, do you feel good about where you're at this point?
I feel great, and it's not only just that, but I'm excited because now this whole process of learning is really, it's stimulating. If you worked at a place for 10 years or 20 years, it kind of dulls your learning curve. Especially my job. My job is very repetitious every day.
Mm-hmm.
Each day is slightly different, but with notes it would be repetitious. But again, it's not predictable, and I like change. I like the unpredictability of it because I like being able to solve how to adapt to one different circumstances as they come up, and that's really one of my strengths is problem solving.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that I'm getting the sense that you still need to focus on putting your systems together in terms of putting a CRM.
No question.
And there's a lot of free ones. You can use Excel spreadsheet, or you can use HubSpot. I use HubSpot, Zoho, or one of these, and then just set it up and start recording all these people that you're engaging with, because that you're building your network. Your network is your net worth. You hear all that, and it's very true, because you want to wake up at the end of the year and you want to have several hundred people that you can go to for various reasons to do various deals. You want to have that in place versus, not having a CRM system and then wondering where things are. But to make the CRM system work, you need to have an outreach matrix in place. And that is where you're going to set goals and expectations every week for different tasks that you need to accomplish on a daily basis. So whether it's research, researching people you need to connect with, whether it's, the actual outreach phone calls, or doing it through social media, which is what you've been doing. The videos work great. So why not just, roll with the videos? But at some point, you'll need a larger audience in LinkedIn and other places. So,
Right.
you need, as you're making videos and living in your, confronting your discomfort, you also need to, at some point, confront your discomfort with picking up the phone and making a few calls to people you don't know.
Right. Yeah. Started doing that too.
Okay, great.
Because that's another thing. I'm good at talking, like one-on-one. I'm not good at picking up the phone. And so I started calling people that I normally would text or something like that, just to have it be more comfortable in my hand, and just going through those processes of starting a conversation, carrying on a conversation. So the other thing I'm going to start doing is going to Toastmasters.
Great.
And just work on presentation level. So I'm not constantly saying, or, because I do that a lot, just in everyday, and just being lazy as for communication wise. But yeah, so that's what it's just working on, becoming a better communicator. Because once I can communicate, I can build the relationships. That's all I've done for the last 20 years with a wide variety of people and backgrounds. And that's what we do. I've coached to motivate them to do things that are completely unnatural, and yet they come out bigger and stronger about it.
Yeah. And what I venture to guess that you're going to find in this whole process, this whole journey, if you will, is that you still have your introverted side where you self-absorb, you self-reflect on things, internalize or what have you. But as you get more out there, in more of an extroverted fashion, then you're almost going to be, honing skills for both sides of the fence. It's going to be an unstoppable Dave Hauser.
It's actually quite fun to go out there and talk to people instead of not talking to people. Go imagine that.
Oh, that's and Fred said Toastmasters will take your communication skills to another level. Yeah,
right. I know a couple of people have done it, and I've been saying I'm going to do it, but I'm going to go to, because I have one right by my work at lunch hour that I can just walk into. So I'm going to take advantage of it.
No, I do like how you're working all the aspects of the sourcing life cycle. You're showing up at the DME, and how good does it feel showing up at the DME when you know a whole bunch of people that are there?
Oh, that was crazy. Sitting there, and Fred and Bill came up and tapped me on the shoulder. Hey, Dave, how you doing, man? And I was like, oh man, this is awesome. It was really cool. It was really cool, and I'm glad I touched base with those guys beforehand, because Bill's a big player in this field, and he's a very super humble guy. But I really value both of them as sounding boards for their information, and they're both just great people.
Yeah, they're both dedicated. They want to see the industry do well. They want to see the industry be cohesive, where we're all. Hey, Joseph, how are you, sir? So yeah, they want the best for this industry, as I know you do, and I know that I do as well. So we're all kind of playing our parts. And Joseph gives you a shout out, Dave. Joseph Schooland, and I don't know if you know him. Dave, frozen Dave.
You there?
Yeah. Okay.
So Joseph and I, we've exchanged emails and talked a little bit.
Good. And I know Joseph's going to be at the Node Expo next week, and And so but you can't go to every expo. I know that too.
Right.
Especially having a day.
DM me in California. That'll be my next one. Yeah, I am.
Going? Oh, yeah. Great.
Yeah, I'm coming in for the early night.
Yeah, I go in. I go to that one every year.
Yeah.
So I like it.
That'll be a totally different exposure.
Oh, it's a whole different crowd. Very few people come from the East Coast. It's a whole West Coast feel. You need to know these West Coast players. You know, and it's not all about Philadelphia. Sorry, guys.
Right.
Go Drexel Dragons, but yeah, you got to know the West Coast players. You know, West Coast is hot. You know, Michael Solis. You know, his Orange County is just a hotbed for hedge funds and note activity. So, yeah, you got to work all sides of the fence for sure.
Yeah. So well, as we go into next year for sure. Not just one or two.
So you're building a conference schedule for yourself to go and hit things.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's great. Well, I mean, is there anything here you want to make a declaration of any kind, Dave? I mean, put anything out there?
Take your time back, people. Make the most of each day. I'll give you a real life story, Martin.
Yeah.
That makes me really ponder time. This morning at my job, I'm a strength conditioning coach. For those that don't know, I've been one for 20 years, and how random of a morning I had. First, and I had a young lady out, and I thought she was having and
oh, Dave, you cut out.
Just like, and I'm not trying to downplay her situation. What are we doing with our, and how can we make it anymore to me?
Dave, I think we're losing you.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's fine. I know we're in your office. You're in your office right now.
Yeah, I'm in the car.
So no, that's great. Well, you know what? I think a lot of people are going to be watching out for you. My money's on Dave Hauser making it.
Thanks,
I have total confidence in you. My only suggestion, and Dan Satofsky and I had lunch the other day, and we talked about you, and we both said the same thing. We're like, Dave's just got to make sure he focuses in on things, and
that's right. That's right.
And success is yours as a result. And I wish you the very best. And go ahead and why don't you go ahead, do me a favor, leave your email address on the comment section. And if anyone wants to connect with you, that'd be great.
Awesome. I appreciate the time, Martin.
Yeah, always, Dave. Always.
All right.
I'll see you guys.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye.